Hello, 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 everybody. It's me, Tracy. I'm back. Yesterday, I was supposed to tape, but it was a hectic day yesterday, so I want to apologize for not following my normal schedule. But before we get started, I definitely want to invite everybody to like this video, share this video. We're going to try to get done at 8, but I got a lot to talk about, so it may not happen. But I want to make sure that, of course, I'm inviting everyone to like my page. Please like this video, okay, and share this video. I got a lot of commercials to get out of the way. You can always visit my website. It's at tracymediallc.com. Our virtual scavenger hunt is September the 3rd at 6, and it says AM, but that should be PM. Just typing way too fast. That's PM, and you can get the link at tracymedia.com/r-events. Join us the 24th at 9:30 a.m. for beating the duopoly. Of course, you can support us by becoming a Patreon. There's some exclusive things with Patreon that I'm looking to do. I invite you to support Anna's page. It's right there. Support Marlon on his Patreon, and you got to spell it exactly the way you see it, or it won't come up. And you can support Thea's Patreon page. So I'm not sure why my phone is dinging. I'm really trying to turn it off. Um, let's see. I'm trying to get this to work because people keep dinging me while I'm on air. But oh boy, what did I want to talk about today? Of course, we all know I talked Friday about the recent um, ruling by the Supreme Court. They had four of them because they've been on a real roll. I mean, first it was the gun law in New York. Then it was you don't have to necessarily have your Miranda rights read to you anymore. Then it was in Maine. Now they have to pay for children's religious education. Then, of course, it was Roe v. Wade, and now we have um, where they just ruled that teachers can lead students in prayer. And this court, I don't even know where to begin. I mean, there's obviously one answer to this, but I'm going to get to why I ultimately blame the Democratic Party for this in a little bit. But they're just out of hand. These decisions are definitely political. Um, and their reasoning for them just literally didn't make sense. I think the one on Roe v. Wade was like, oh, well, abortion isn't mentioned. Well, did they call it that back then? I don't know. I mean, um, just they're on a roll. And of course, your all's and my all's favorite former vice president that was had to be under security because his president tried to have him killed, but somehow he still supports him. Says that now he's wanted a national ban on abortion. So let me get this straight. So the Supreme Court says basically this is a state issue. You can't have the federal government deciding things. It has to be up to the states. But now you're saying, Mike Pence, Mitch McConnell, Mitt Romney, all the rest, that now you want a national ban on abortion. So when did it stop being states' rights? This isn't about denying, well, it is about denying women access to health care. But this is about control. This is a simple thing that we're going to control who you marry. We're going to control what you do with your body. We won't control guns. Guns we will not control. If you want to own an AK 47, 48, or whatever it's called, hey, that's perfectly fine. We won't control that. We'll control if you're black and you can't vote or can vote. We'll tell you where you can vote. You'll have to go 50 miles out to vote. But hey, we didn't say you couldn't vote. We're just going to make it much harder. I know what the answer is. And again, I'm going to get to that a little later. But I wanted to talk about the hearings today. Okay, so I finally came around to watching them. And the bit that I watched, because I didn't watch the whole thing. So the portion that I watched, oh my goodness. Trump out here throwing temper tantrums like he's 2 years old. Apparently, just to make a summary of it, you want Trump actually wanted to march with the, remember on January the 6th, he made this big speech about, I'm going to go down there with you all and I'm going to march with you. And everybody was like, well, you're not going to go down there. You're going to go back to the White House. Apparently, he really wanted to go. What happened, though, is someone on his staff or his security detail told him basically, you can't go. There's no way that you can go because this is going to be violent, this is going to get out of hand, and you're the president, and we can't have that happen. He literally grabs the wheel, and this is where somebody's going to have to help explain this to me. He literally grabs the wheel. I hope I'm getting this right. He grabs the wheel of the car and then tries to choke someone. I know why the person didn't bring charges. But for real, if this doesn't seal it, I don't know what to tell you. And I'm pretty sure Trump fans are going to be like, oh, it was great. He showed courage to fight because he almost choked somebody. You really want to follow somebody that's choking people? So yeah, he really wanted to go, and he was stopped. Then he got back to the White House, and apparently he went on a more temper tantrum. Let's see who's here. Well, okay, so who was it that told him that he couldn't go to the protest? Somebody, from what I'm understanding, somebody told him he couldn't go, and they were going to just drive him back to the White House. And they did not drive him, not back to the White House. They were going to drive him back to the White House and not to the Capitol like he wanted. Who was that person? Because I thought it was his security deal. I could be wrong. And hey, he is. But I could be wrong. Like I said, I watched bits and pieces. But somebody told him he couldn't go, and they refused to take him to the Capitol, which means he knew that this was going to be violent. Now, I'm looking at his size and his ability. That's what I said. His security detail. That's what I saw it. But oh, the assault. Okay. So, but did he choke? Did he attempt to choke someone? Because from what I heard from the lady that testified, um, she was Mark Meadows' assistant. And she said, and I don't know why she previously testified, and they showed past videos of her testifying, but she said when Trump was back at the White House, he started tossing dishes with food in them and et cetera and et cetera. And I'm like, y'all signed up to work for this guy? You sit here and said, oh, okay, this is who I want to work for. I mean, I know little babies throw temper tantrums. That's what little babies do. But Trump's almost 80. Those temper tantrums should have been over like 75, 76 years ago, and you're out here like choking people and throwing dishes. And I know he's their tough guy, but what was he gonna actually do? Run? He hasn't ran any place. And as a plus size person, um, no, I know plus size when I see it. He's not running, he's not fighting, he's not gonna do anything. So apparently that's pretty much the only real thing that I learned that I didn't know before. I'm like, wow. If the DOJ does nothing, I'm at a loss. I don't understand. Maybe they're just waiting on something. Maybe they're investigating in the background. But this dude literally tried to choke someone. Literally tried to choke someone. Literally threw dishes. I'm assuming probably at a person. Again, I didn't hear the whole testimony. And it was so strange because I thought the hearings were going to be over until July. And then a couple of days ago, they announced a surprise witness. And I'm like, what? I thought the hearings were going to be held later in July. This, this what they did today, this should have been in prime time. This should have been in prime time because what she said, I'm just sitting there like, wait a minute. Wait a minute. They did all of this. Um, no, they won't, and that's the bad part. If he knew that there was going to be violence, and he knew essentially that if he knew there was going to be violence, because basically, let's face it, he started it's like there's no excuse for them not to at least throw a charge. Now, will it stick? Probably not. America is one of these dumb nations that won't throw their presidents or former presidents in jail, which again is why I wish I lived in a country that was a little bit more progressive. But hey, it is what it is. Um, I was just blown away. I don't think there's going to be other hearings, unless I'm wrong. I think this was the last one until like middle July or end of July, unless they do another surprise witness thing. Um, this I can't believe. I can believe it because it's Trump, but I can't believe it. It's like whoever got attempted choke. What did they like? What's going through their minds? Like nobody tried to stop them. Usually, if you see somebody going for the neck, you try to restrain the person. They just let him go, and then he took the wheel of a car. Like, how close to the wheel was he sitting? Was he in the front seat? Was he? Did he? I don't imagine that he leaped from the back seat to the front seat. So I'm just going to assume. Hate to use that word, but assume he had to be in the front seat because there's no way he's leaping from the back to the front. So if he's in the front, he's taking the wheel. That puts people in danger. You're walking, you see this car going all erratic. Oh my goodness. I've never thought that it would be like this. But now I know basically anything is possible. Anything is possible. So that's enough on that subject. I also wanted to talk about something a little bit more controversial. When the ruling came down, there's been a lot of finger pointing. I've been doing some of it. And he really doesn't. He really doesn't. Hey, Marlon. Oh, and hey, Ann, I forgot to say I love you. He really doesn't. But since the Roe v. Wade decision came down, there's been a lot of finger pointing. Some of us to the far left, or what most people call the radical left, are saying, hey, Democrats, you had 40 years to codify. You had Carter, Clinton, Obama, and now Biden, who all had majorities and nothing was done. And Surprise, surprise, the first thing I get when I open my uh, email is a fundraising letter. Again, making the same promises. If we get 50, I think now they've moved it up to 56 senators, they could codify Roe. My question is, why didn't you codify it before? Now, somebody's initially going to say they didn't have votes. So that means that the Democrats at the time who were running under Carter, Clinton, Obama, and maybe now Biden, they were lying about their pro choice stance. How do you not, especially Obama, how do you not have enough votes if you have a super majority? You can't just pick up the phone, because I think Nancy Pelosi was the Speaker of the House at the time. You can't just pick up the phone and be like, hey, I need a bill that codifies Roe v. Wade. Thank you, Anna. I'm gonna have to be with our friend Vic Mickey. You're not getting no more of my money. I'm not donating anything to your campaign. I'm tired of it because that email was so predictable. And mine, they were asking for 15. Well, if you just donate $15, we'll codify it. Really, liars? You really gonna do that? So when are you gonna do that? When you get 50, and then you'll move the bar to 60, and then you'll move the bar to 65. You keep moving the goal stands, and to be honest, with some of the clips I'm watching, it's not working. Simply telling people to go vote for you, the boogeyman approach is not working. It simply isn't. I've watched, I can't tell you how many videos from Status Coup and TYT, even Tim Black, where people are calling and saying they're not falling for this trick that the Democrats are using. I knew as soon as this decision was made that it was going to be used to raise money. I was hoping I was wrong, but I'm not. I was exactly right. And people simply aren't falling for it anymore. They're going to have to do something else to get us to vote for them. Maybe if they, I don't know, promise to, well, no, see, I was going to say promise to codify Roe if they get the Senate. But they haven't done it. They didn't do it under Carter. They didn't do it under Obama. They didn't do it under Clinton. They just haven't done it. So what makes me think if I go here and I vote for a Democrat in the Senate, I'm not talking about the House race. If I vote for a Democrat, that they're just not going to keep moving the goalpost and moving it out and saying, no, we need 60. We need 65. No, we need 70. We need 75, 80. I wouldn't be surprised if somebody says, oh, no, we need 100. I just don't trust the Democratic Party to do this. And I'll say it, I don't care if anybody likes it or not. I don't think that the corporate Democrats want to do it. And let's see. Okay, so the second part I agree, but I don't know what you're asking in terms of the first. So, like I said, again, let's take Obama because he had the clearest supermajority. Yes, I know the economy was bad at the time, it was tanky. But you can walk and chew gum at the same time. You can fix the economy because that's the main thing to get the economy back on track. No doubt about it. But you got health care passed during that time. You couldn't call Nancy Pelosi and be like, hey, Congress needs to send me a bill to codify. If she's now saying, oh, we didn't have the votes, that means that all the Democrats that ran as pro-choice back then were lying about being pro-choice. It's either one or the other. You can't say, oh, we didn't have the votes, and then say, well, we'll codify it when we get it. No, you had the votes. All those people, as far as I knew, were campaigning on pro-choice and speaking of Planned Parenthood and doing all these things, and it didn't happen. That is one place to blame. That doesn't erase what the Republicans have done, but you have to give them credit for this. They said that we are going to make abortion illegal, and they probably will. That was their goal. And they got, again, Obama to sit down and not put up Garland as the justice. Then they got Trump got three, which basically all three of those, if you could make the call. Okay, so here, I'll get to that here in just a moment. But um, what, for what? I mean, I, like I said, I know what the Republicans wanted to do. They told us what they wanted to do. They said we will overturn Roe v. Wade. And right now, that's what they've done. Now, yes, abortion is still legal in some states, but in July, I think it's the 6th, Indiana is going to move to a total abortion ban, which we knew was coming. So that's going to leave like California, Washington, Oregon, New York, Vermont, Connecticut, I think Maine, not sure Maine. So we know the Republicans are garbage. They're all garbage. They vote on these bills that control women, but not guns. But we know who they are. They've shown us who they are. We believe them. Another um, option that has came to address the ruling, which I think should have been done, is to get rid of the filibuster so that Biden could pack the courts. Now that makes perfect sense to me because if you pack the courts, you could get Roe v. Wade solidified. You could actually get voters' rights. You could actually get things done. Biden apparently was not interested in suspending the filibuster to get more judges. He's not interested in doing it. Matter of fact, there's a clip, and I wish I had it, of him saying when Don Lemon interviewed him and said, well, what about getting rid of the filibuster? He said, oh, that would lead to disaster. Filibuster not in the Constitution, but okay. So he doesn't want to suspend the filibuster to get more judges on the court. That would be an easy thing to do. But of course, you have Joe Manchin and you have Kyrsten Sinema, who apparently are, I don't know how, but I thought Joe Manchin was pro-life, but apparently he's pro-choice, so I had that wrong. Apparently not interested in doing that. Another option, which again I had never even actually thinks it would take 51 votes if they suspend the filibuster. If not, it would take 60. Yes, Anna, I'm so glad you got to that. Well, let me give some advice to the White House. Please stop sending Kamala Harris to do interviews. Don't send her no more to do many more interviews. Oh my gosh, that was so painful to watch. The reporter was asking a question, and it was so simple to ask. And the question was, could you put clinics on federal grounds in states that where abortion are banned? The obvious answer to me would be, oh yeah, we're gonna concentrate on doing that. Nope. She simply says, we haven't talked about that. Are you kidding me? You should have been talking about that when the leak got out of how we're gonna get this done. You just sitting here like, oh my gosh, that was so painful. That was a painful interview to watch. It was horrible. I mean, don't send her to do no more interviews. And for her to say vote for Dems, yeah, I'd like to, but for what? It was, don't do that no more. Okay, this is where I'm gonna disagree with you. Um, the President Biden could use his bully pulpit more. He doesn't use it against Sinema and Manchin. Other words, every time if he has a press conference right now, somebody's going to cover it because he's the president of the United States. He's going to get automatic coverage, And every time that camera is in his face, he should be saying Joe Manchin and Kirsten Sinema are standing in the way by not taking away the filibuster. Period. That should be, it only takes 51 votes. So if you got those two on board, then Kamala Harris is the tiebreaker. Filibuster goes out the window. But he won't do that because, again, as Kamala said, we didn't discuss that. And how you gonna not discuss it? It doesn't. But he doesn't have to. Like I said, it doesn't change Manchin's vote. But using the bully pulpit, it could change it. Every time if it were me, I'm talking about if it were me, every time I open my mouth, I would say Joe Manchin is stopping the filibuster from being eliminated. We need women's rights. We need to get rid of this filibuster. Every single time. I don't care what it is we're talking about. I don't care what it is that the topic is. I'm saying that every single time. And I'm dropping his own number. Every time. He changed. That's what they did when the $1,400 tax checks came out and Manchin only wanted like 6. And then he wanted to means test it to death. They sent Kamala Harris to West Virginia and she did an interview. She used, well, she's the vice president, but she used her stance as vice president to say, hey, call him and demand $1,400. It got passed. All I'm saying is use the bully pulpit better than you have been. It's an option and we need to use it. Like I said, he was criticized for wanting $600 for the tax, the stimulus. He all of a sudden he got those phone calls and it was $1,400 and he voted for it. If it can work once, it can work twice. Another idea that was kind of ran out there, didn't really have to do with the Kamala Harris interview. And again, stop sending her out for interviews. Don't send her for any more interviews. Send somebody. Don't do that no more. That was a horrible interview. Horrible. But another option that's being talked about is, and this is probably what's going to happen, is states where it's illegal, we would basically have an underground railroad system. I hate to use that term, but it would be. So it would be basically like I would agree to drive a lady to Illinois so she could get her abortion. Or somebody would drive from their state to another state that allows it. There's a couple of problems with that. One, the states are too far apart. So Indiana, Illinois, pretty close. But Georgia to Illinois, or Georgia to New York, or Georgia to Oregon, that's a little, because you know Texas is already banned. You know, I'm not sure about Arizona, but I know Texas, Georgia, Florida. Oh no, I take that back. North Carolina, it is still legal. So they could go to North Carolina. I take that back. They could go to North Carolina. But the goal would be to establish these means of transportation by literally driving them there or getting funds together to pay for her airline ticket and hotel and all those type of things. That takes a little bit more planning. Not to say that I think it's a bad idea. We shouldn't have to be going through all this. But okay, all you judgmental people out there that want to control people, you've made this happen. But a lot of states, like the Texas and the Indiana, we're doing it, are now looking at legislation, and this is where it gets kind of tricky. And Anna, if I get this wrong, please correct me. They want to make it illegal for a woman to travel to another state that allows abortions to get abortions. Number one, how do they know that the woman is pregnant? Unless they're violating her HIPAA, and then you'd have to get rid of HIPAA. Number two, you can't tell people where to travel in terms of within the United States. Now, you can obviously say, hey, you can't go to Cuba unless you got XYZ reason. How do, I think that's being used as a scare tactic. And I don't know if there's a national organization. And again, I hate to call it the Underground Railroad because that I don't want to do, but I don't know what else to call it. Um, I know that's what I was trying not to do. I was really, really, really trying not to do it. And thank you for correcting me. I'm trying to come up with something to describe it, and I'm like, I don't know. Um, it's not a part with slavery. I know. I'm apologizing because I don't know. A highway. Thank you, Anna. Highway, not underground. Thank you, thank you, thank you for the correction. Thank you for the chastisement. I needed that. But this is, I really am just, I know what's going to happen in November. It's either people are going to come out and just vote, and I'm talking about those of us on the correct side, are going to vote Democrat no matter what, and they'll barely scrape by, or they're going to lose in horrendous fashion, and then they'll blame us for not voting. Um, and it, I again, I just don't know what to do anymore. It's just, it seems like it's a fight we're going to lose because if we get a national wide ban, then we're going to have to start looking at places like Canada. And I don't know if abortion is legal in Mexico. I think it is. Um, I don't know. I don't know if we're just fighting a losing battle because it just seems like the odds are so against us. They are just um, they're just too big to overcome, and I really don't know what to do. And it's hard for me to say, oh, illegal in Mexico. Thank you. It's hard for me to say what it is we should do because we have like I said, stacking the courts would be the easiest answer. But when your president says, "Oh, I don't think we can do that," it's like, well, what else are we supposed to do? Yes, we can protest in the streets, but the courts have shown they don't. We can protest in the streets all day, and they're still going to be like, states' rights. Um, maybe they could put it on federal grounds, but according to Kamala Harris, that wasn't even in the discussion. I'm like, I'm just looking for a solution. Anybody want to type a solution in? Just let me know because I'm just at a loss. I don't know what to do anymore. Protesting, yes, but what else? What else? I just feel lost. Exactly. That's why I'm just frustrated because I'm like, I just want to give up. Just you know, it seems like it's such a lost cause. It's like why even try? They're they're doing everything they can to make this illegal. It's just like okay, which country do I move to? I can move to Canada, then become a citizen of Cuba. I can move overseas to Europe, but that's just America light. I don't know. I don't know. Um, I'd like to say, and then that helps the prison industrial complex because if you put doctors in jail and women in jail, now you got to build more prisons. So this whole thing is just um, a cycle, and I don't know how to break it. And so with these last few minutes, I really want to talk about things that we can do because obviously we have a president that will not stack the courts, which would have been the easiest answer. Easiest answer would have been simply stack the courts. We can elect more Democrats, but I want something, you can make them write things, they'll still break promises. It's like, well, voting for them, they didn't codify it in the 40 years or 50 years that they had it. How would they do it now? I'm just like, Okay, I'm okay. Solutions. That's all I'm asking for. I'm asking for solutions because I don't know what to do anymore. I've done everything that I can. I'm not in office. I can't pass legislative laws. You know, we can have a sit-in at the White House, but that's more people getting arrested. I don't know what it's going to take anymore because I just feel like I'm just tired. I'm tired of the fight. It's so much, and it's such a large fight. Yes, of course, it's going to take years. Don't expect it to take any less. But right now, we can only support the women where it's legal, and if they try to make it a national law, we would absolutely have to go to the polls. We would absolutely have to go to the polls. So I think, unfortunately, we're going to be stuck voting for Democrats who aren't going to codify it because they're so busy using it for fundraising. It's just like what are you doing? We sent you there to fight, and all I feel like I'm hearing is women should have the right to make choices over their own body. Okay, no duh. What are you going to do about it? I just don't know anymore. I just don't. I don't like ending this show like that, but it's just I'm just like, what? Why? Nothing good is easy, but this is just devastating to me because you're getting. Wait a minute! I just thought of something. Ha ha ha! If the Democrats, anybody running for Democratic office, especially in the Senate, because they're the only ones that could do it, if they ran on a campaign promise of impeaching Clarence Thomas because he knew what his wife was doing, impeaching Brett Kavanaugh, Amy Coney Barrett, and that other one, Gorsuch, I can't even pronounce his name right. You impeach those four, I'll vote for you. Of course, we would have to have 60 votes to impeach all three or all four, but they also won't codify because you won't help send enough people to do it. Okay, but here's my point. If they keep promising to do it and never do it, then why are we sending more? They keep saying, oh, we'll codify, we'll codify, we'll codify. You had 40 years to codify and you didn't do it. What's to make me think you're going to do it now? Like I said, they need to be doing something to say, hey, if I get there, we're going to overturn the filibuster. We're going to stack the courts. We're going to codify Roe v. Wade, and we're going to get this done. That I would vote for. I would absolutely vote for it. I won't vote. What I won't vote for is you sending out fundraising letters telling me, oh, I need to vote Democrat. For what? What purpose? What purpose? I don't want to vote Republican. I'm never going to vote for Republicans. But if you have a track record of doing nothing, you're going to do something to tell me that, okay, we were wrong for that. We're going to do this instead. And I haven't seen it. That's all I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. And that's what I know. I know you're going to advocate voting Democrat no matter what, but I'm going to say they're going to have to earn my vote. They're going to have to earn it because again, they lie and they lie and they lie and they lie. We're going to codify it. We're going to codify it. No, you're not. You're not going to codify it. We need 60 votes in the Senate to impeach those four judges that I just named, to override the filibuster, like I just said. We get somehow by Democrats um, to vote for something that they've never supported in the past. We had Obama literally say, and I wish I had the clip, but I can't play it because I don't know how to switch out, that his priority when he spoke to Planned Parenthood was to codify Roe. His words, not mine. Then he says, when he gets elected, it's not a priority. Okay, fine. The economy was messed up. We had to get it fixed. I am not saying the economy had to be fixed. We were headed towards another depression. It was terrible. Had to be dealt with. But you can't walk and chew gum at the same time. No, you're not wasting my time because you're making me think, but I'm just like, I don't see anything that they're doing different. That's all I want. I want to see them do something different than the 4 years of, okay, we're going to codify and then never codify. So Anna said something like her comment. Anna, but if they voted in, that's, I want to agree with that. But the way that our system is, that's all we have. We could involve the labor union on the labor union, the labor movement, but for what? And please don't take this one wrong, Anna. The younger generation, yeah, they show up for presidential elections. They don't show up in the primaries when that's when we could get real change made. I would love to see them show up for a primary. Love it. Um, that's it. But again, looking for solutions. Um, like I said, I just don't see like in my state we have two Republican senators, both with extremely high approval rates. They're probably going to easily win their race because I know the change has to come in the Senate. It can't come in the House. I mean, the House could vote to codify it, but to pass it, it has to go through the Senate. And to pass through the Senate, you're going to have to eliminate the filibuster. But you can't eliminate the filibuster because you got Joe Manchin and Kirsten Sinema just standing in the way, like, no, I don't want. It's just like, I think the young lady in the video that I watched the other day made the point better than me. Is we're so tired of being lied to. It's like, what are you doing? This is the time where you need, yes, you need to tell people to get to the polls. That's just a no brainer. But it's like they never wanted it. Because if abortion is illegal, then they have nothing to fundraise off of. I hate to even say that. That's a horrible thing to say. It's a horrible thing to think. But they haven't demonstrated anything. And yes, you have the AOCs and the Bernie Sanders who, want to, who keep saying over, how many times have we heard, get rid of the filibuster, get rid of the filibuster, get rid of the filibuster. As long as Manchin, Sinema, and probably some other ones who are with them, who are probably Democrats, don't want to get rid of it, we're going to be in the same thing. So do we burn the whole system down and start over? So I don't know. I don't see a winning plan from the Dems. I see a plan from the Republicans. It's garbage, but they're winning because they had enough sense to think things out. We just are kind of like, and I say we because I'm not a Democrat, but the other side is just so reactionary. Like we react to things. We don't think, okay, so we got to win school boards, we got to win state um, house races. That is where the change could possibly come from. And I think maybe an answer is to get people to vote in their statewide elections. If you live in a state that's super duper red, like I live in a super duper red state, probably time to do some get out the vote campaigns and start supporting actual candidates that want to overturn our state's law, which is probably going to be July 7th or July 6th. Pretty much, I just want to say now, but they haven't officially met. So, it's not my goal to offend people, but I just think we've got to stop pretending like the Democrats haven't lied to us. The Republicans have definitely lied to us. definitely lied to us. Don't get me wrong. But we just gotta wake up, because if we don't wake up, we're gonna look okay. And okay, how can we talk? I'm not saying talk down to them, Anna, but they don't show up. They only show up for presidential elections, unless I'm just missing something, because I'm just taking everybody off, and that's not what I want to do. I really don't. But I'm just saying they do not show up for those primaries. That's where you get. Look at Nina Turner. Look at India Walton. Look at I can't name the other person right off the top of my head. But yeah, I'll just move on. So again, it's not my intent to anger anyone, but it's just we've been lied to. That's my stance. I'm not changing it. I definitely don't want Roe v. Wade being outlawed nationwide. Unfortunately, that's where I think it's going to go, because this is where the Republican Party is headed. We knew, and I'm saying we because I'm putting myself in this. We knew where they was headed, but we just thought, oh well, we'll just it's law, so they can't do anything. And we didn't think the long term game. We just thought, well, it's legal now. We'll just keep it legal and go from there. No, that's wrong. That's wrong, wrong, wrong. And until we admit that we were wrong and start thinking, okay, so we're going to do this instead, and this instead, and this instead, I think we got a whole lot of soul searching to do. And I don't know what I'm going to do in November. It's going to be hard for me, because I'm like, well, I could write in candidates, but what chance do they have? I could vote for Republicans, but that's probably never going to happen. I just need the other side, whether you're Democratic, Socialist, Progressive, an ideologue, the opposite side. We're going to have to collaborate somehow. I don't know how that starts. I don't know where the conversation starts, but this protesting, as great as I think it is, that's not going to change the Supreme Court's opinion. They've already said they're going to come after birth control. They're going to come after gay marriage. They're going to come after how you can have sex. They're going to come after a whole lot of things. Voters' rights may be next on the block. And we have to, as much as we minorly disagree with each other about not criticizing the Democrats, which I don't consider them my allies, but if I have to look to them to get things done, it is what it is. I don't know why people decide to call when I'm doing something. Um, it is what it is, but I just know that their way of dealing with it, eh, oh, thank you, Anna. But I just feel like every time I say, this party can't be trusted, I get, well, you gotta. No, I don't. I don't technically have to do anything. I'm going to do something because that's just who I am. But we've got to do something totally different than what we've done before. Because what we've been doing and what we're talking about doing isn't getting us the results that we want. We're not getting the results that we want. All we're getting are fundraising letters from the Democrats talk about give us $15 so that we can codify Roe when you already had 40 years to do it and you didn't want to do it, but now you want another $15. It's like, again, they're moving the goalposts. They move them down, they move them down, they move them down, they move them down. If you could say, hey, maybe what we should be doing is during that election saying, hey, what are you going to do to codify Roe? And making them accountable for that instead of me just blindly. I think I wrote our candidate. I don't think I've received the answer yet. It's like, what are you going to do to make sure that this law is overturned? It's like, why did I even waste an email? One, I haven't heard back. I'm not in legislation, I'm not a legislator, so I can't write down everything I want and make it a law. Sometimes I wish I could, because it'd be a whole lot easier for me to do that. But young people, they can be. They definitely voted for Joe Biden in this election, and their turnout was fantastic. I just wanted to be in the primaries too. That's all I was saying on that. Um, and so that's what I want to briefly talk about. I'll talk about it a little bit Thursday, and I said I was going to go till 8:15. I'm way past, so I'm going to tell you all what I'm going to start doing next Monday. So next Monday starts July, and as you all know, I'm one of the committee members for the Medicare for All March, July 23rd, 2022, 12:30 p.m., Indianapolis, Indiana. And so the whole time from that first Monday in July until that last Monday of that week, I'm just talking all Medicare for all. That's all I'm talking about. That's all I'm going to do. That's all I'm going to just bring guests on to talk about it and talk about it and talk about it. That's going to be the whole show for Tracy Takes On. Then in August, this show permanently moves to Tuesdays and not Mondays, and it will simply be called The Tracy Show. That is what the show will be called. First hour will be interviews. Second hour will be more of a panel discussion. So again, starting next week, for the month of July, let me get these dates because I got to look at them. I'm sorry. Marlon's going to don't look at the computer, but I got to because I want to tell you the exact dates. So it will be Monday. Well, not the 4th. I'm sorry. It'll be the 11th, the 18th, the 11th, and the 18th. And July 4th, I will be doing a show, but it's going to be called The Hypocrisy of Democracy. And I had a 7 o'clock start time, but that's going to actually start at 1 o'clock. I forgot that that's my brother's birthday celebration, and so I had to be there. So I'm going to move that show to 1 and do it that way. And then starting that next week, the 11th, and the week after that, the 18th, I'll probably do the Thursday show that first week. And because Anna has agreed to it, she's going to actually host in my place that Thursday before the march, because I won't be in any kind of way where I'm making sense. So with that being said, again, we had another great discussion, some bumps, but that's okay. Again, I always want to say that it's never my intention to hurt. I always think I'm thinking out loud, and it could come across in a way that I don't mean it to. So just, forgive me if I've said anything that's kind of cross. I'm just really passionate about women's reproductive rights and having those rights continue, but we definitely need to do something. I don't know what that something is. I don't know what that means, but there's something that has to be done. And it has to be done by us, because obviously our politicians just, for some part, not all of them, are dropping the ball as far as I'm concerned. So I went way longer than I thought I was. I thank you all for joining me. Remember to like this video, please. Share this video, comment on it, And I didn't give out my email address, but if you want to email me, you can always send an email to tracymediallc@gmail.com. And I will see you all next week, July 4th, 1 o'clock p.m., for probably an hour discussion on the hypocrisy of democracy. I will see you all later. Thank you for joining me. Thank you for the great discussion. Gives me a lot of things to think about. I will speak to you all later. Have a fantastic day.